What's that?
You said 4, is it 5?
Oh, 5, yeah, declarations of conflicts of interest.
None.
Item 7, items from the public, non-agenda items. Nubia?
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and council members. If there are any members of the public wishing to provide public comments this evening for non-agendized items, this is the time to do so. You can participate in one of 3 ways. You can raise your hand by pressing the raised hand button under the participant tab. If you are calling in, you can press *9 and that will get you in line for public comment. Or alternatively, you can send the host a message in the chat channel and we will read your comment into the record. So I will give the public an opportunity to raise their hands, and I do not see any hands raised at this time, Mayor.
Thank you. And I skipped over 6. There's no ceremonial matters tonight. So back to 8. Consent calendar. A, waive all readings of ordinance and resolutions except by title. B, approval of warrants. C, approval of minutes for the June 8, 2021 meeting.
I move that we... Go ahead, I'm sorry, Paul.
Move to approve.
We have first, do we have second?
Second that.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3 with 2 absent. Item number 9, public hearing. A, adopt resolution 2021 and next the number. A resolution confirming the assessment and ordering the levy for lighting and landscape maintenance district for the fiscal year 2021 and 2022.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll take this item.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you. This item before you is pursuant to the Landscape and Lighting Act of 1972. The City of Newman has 15 landscape maintenance zones within the lighting and landscape maintenance district and various locations identified by subdivision. The zones include street lights, parks, any kind of landscaping that's out there, and then operating and maintaining all those areas, which can consist of trimming and pruning, weed abatement, sidewalks, plant materials, any pathways, irrigation systems, lighting systems, storm drainage systems, and graffiti removal. The provisions of the Act provide for the levy and collection of assessments by the County of Stanislaus for the City of Newman to pay for the maintenance and services of all the improvements and facilities related to the district. The City Council retained NBS for the purpose of assisting with the proposed assessments, and they were asked in order to prepare and file an annual report for the district with the city clerk, which was done and approved at the May 11th, 2021 meeting. At the May 25th City Council meeting, it was approved, and the City Council adopted a resolution of intent to levy and collect the assessments, and we set a notice for public hearing. We set a date for the public hearing, which will occur tonight. With the adoption of this resolution, the City Council resolves to confirm the assessment, and it is described in full in the annual report, levy the assessment, and pursuant to the Act, the adoption of this resolution will constitute the levy of an assessment for fiscal year commencing July 1st, 2021 and ending June 30th, 2022. And then finally it will order the levy of assessment. And then NBS will prepare and submit the levy of assessments to Stanislaus County for placement on the fiscal year 21-22 secured property tax roll. This is the final step in a 4-step process. And I would turn it back to you, Mayor, to conduct the public hearing, and I would also take any questions.
Okay. Council, do we have any questions for Catherine at this time?
Yeah, I have a quick question for her. I think about a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, it was brought up that we were going to have landscaping of lighting. I'm wondering, do we have anything set for any of the parks that we're going to be part of our master plan, or the existing parks that there will be lights?
So the lighting landscape districts, those include street lights that are throughout the subdivisions and could include some lights that are at the existing parks. Any new parks that are going to be proposed, we would develop its own district, and residents that affects, or parcels that affects or benefits, we would go through the process to establish a new landscape and maintenance district, and it's a pretty involved process, and so it hasn't been done for quite some time. This is an annual assessment that takes care of all the existing improvements out in all the different subdivisions. So, for instance, Sherman Park, that has a park, and it has playground. It has a storm basin, which is a dual-purpose park basin. It has a storm lift station. It has the Sherman Parkway walkway. It has the Sherman Parkway ditch.
Right.
It's got all those street lights, all the trees, all the landscaping throughout that whole neighborhood. And so the assessment for the parcels in the Sherman Park subdivision, the assessment amount that they pay into, we use that to take care of that district. Now, the lighting landscape district funds is not enough to take care of all of our parks and landscapes, and so we supplement that with the general fund. And so we set a budget, and we maintain a contract for some of it. The public works employees take care of some of it, and it's a balancing act to make sure that we're taking care of it properly and can afford to. We like to save the general fund for public safety, because that's how we fund our police and fire department. So we have a little bit of that fund for the parks.
Right. I don't mean to prolong this, Mayor, but the reason why I brought that up is because we have that canal school project that's going to be going up over there for recreation. I mean, that's going to be in depth in terms of people participating in that. And so I'm thinking, that whether it's in the plan for that particular area, that something of the lighting should be included in that.
Yes, and Michael might be able to take a little bit more on the plans for a fund that will support the O&M maintenance. That's going to be a stormwater site, and so stormwater will be paying for some of that. We're establishing some fees based on development that will pay into a fund. When we get funded for the actual part of that parcel, we will discuss lighting. We could go solar lighting. It'll be cheaper, but that's going to come in the future, and the public will have input on that. And so we'll be discussing lighting out there.
Yeah, I just want to throw it on the table so when that does come up, we will have some ideas.
That's part of the development of the park. This is for upkeep of stuff that's already in place.
Okay.
So when the development comes, we can go into the lighting on the development of the stuff, but this is more just what we have right now.
Okay, thank you.
So since this is a public thing and there's no further questions, we'll go and open up to the public. Nubia?
At this time, any members of the public wishing to participate can do so by pressing the raise hand button or *9 on your phone. I do not see any hands raised for public comment at this time here.
Okay, I'll go and bring it back to council for action.
I move that we adopt resolution number 2021, and the resolution confirming the asset and assignment, and ordering the levy for the lighting and landscaping maintenance district for fiscal year 21-22.
We have a first and a second. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Nick Candia is online now, so the motion carries 4 with 1 absent.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number B. Second reading, adoption of ordinance next to number, or 2021 next to number, an ordinance amending Title IV Building Regulations, Chapter 4.11 Floodplain Management of the Newman City Code, and authorizing staff to publish a summary of said ordinance.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll take this one as well. This item was introduced at our June 8th meeting, and the reading was waived except by title. With tonight, our plan is to conduct a public hearing and then consider the adoption of this ordinance. And then if you do adopt it, then we will publish the summary of the said ordinance. The City of Newman participates in the National Flood Insurance Program Community Rating System. It's a voluntary incentive program that recognizes and encourages community floodplain management practices that exceed the minimum requirements. In the community rating system, communities' flood insurance premium rates are discounted to reflect the reduced flood risk resulting from the community's effort that address the goals of the program. I am the current floodplain manager, and so we review any kind of development or substantial rehabilitation of buildings to make sure that they're meeting the minimum elevation standards, and we educate the public, we do some outreach, and we provide assistance on helping builders, residents try to prevent floods. And with that assistance and effort the city puts into it, we are able to get our residents a discount on flood insurance if they live in a flood zone, which we do have a flood zone in our city. FEMA is updating our maps, and so during that process, they reviewed our ordinance and advised that we need to update a few of the sections. And so they are listed, the changes are listed in full in the ordinance that's attached to the staff report. The revisions included some minor revisions in the definition section, some minor revisions for establishing the areas of special flood hazard, the basis for establishing that, which is basically referring to the maps, to flood maps. Revisions to the permitting section, which will give more detail on what kind of permits that applicants need when they build to comply with the flood ordinance, the flood management ordinance. It revises some of the floodplain administrator duties and responsibilities. It makes it clear for me when I get an applicant in on how to handle that applicant from start to finish, and what those responsibilities are. There are a revision to the standards of construction, which is basically clarifying that we need a licensed architect or engineer to certify that the applicant is meeting the criteria in this ordinance, not just the, it can't just be the applicant doing it or even myself. It needs to be a licensed person that can analyze the base flood elevation of the building and how the building is going to sit on that lot. And then the minor revisions to the appeal board, if variance was ever issued for some reason, then that will follow the property and be required to be recorded on the title of that property. On June 8th, the council introduced the ordinance and waived the first reading. If it is adopted tonight, it will become effective in 30 days and will be in full compliance with FEMA for our CRS program. And I'll take any questions on this, and the next step will be conducting the public hearing.
Any questions for Catherine from the council? We'll go and open up to the public. Nubia?
Any members of the public wishing to provide public comment can do so at this time.
Okay, thank you. We'll bring it back to council for action.
Okay, I move to accept the second reading and adopt ordinance number 2021, an ordinance amending Title 4, Building Regulations, Chapter 4.11, Flood Plain Management of the Newman City Code, and authorize staff to publish a summary of said ordinance.
And I'll second that.
We have a first and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4 with 1 absent. Item number C.
Thank you.
Thank you. Second reading and adoption of ordinance 2021 next number, an ordinance approving a second amendment to 1035 T Street Development Agreement and authorizing staff to publish a summary of said ordinance.
Thank you, Mayor. I will go ahead and take this one. This is a continuation from our June 8th meeting when the council introduced this ordinance for a second amendment to the 1035 T Street Development Agreement. As you may recall, the 1035 T Street Agreement is a 10-lot subdivision on 3 acres at the corner of T Street and Stimba. As part of that, there was a development agreement that went on. The developer has asked for a few modifications to that original development agreement, and we went over those the other night. Just I'll just name them real quickly, and then we'll get into the details unless you ask a question. But just wanted to recognize this amendment would, one, recognize the 2 lots that didn't meet the 10,000 square feet on the final map. It approved the E1 sewer system as an alternative. It allows 3 floor plans over the 10 lots subject to architecture review approval, making sure that there's a variety in the facades, so you cannot tell that there's the same floor plan being used again. And then lastly, there's some potential changes to the sound wall, and those would have to, again, be approved by or recommended by a sound study and then ultimately approved by the Architecture Review Committee. So with that, again, the staff is recommending that we approve the second amendment to the 1035 T Street Development Agreement. Tonight is a public hearing, so we ask that you take public comment from them, and subsequent to that, we ask that you adopt the ordinance and authorize staff to publish a summary thereof. I can answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Michael on the council? Seeing none, we'll go and open up to the public. Nubia?
Thank you, Mayor. Any members of the public wishing to provide public comment can do so at this time. Except for him. He cannot. And I do not see any hands raised at this time, Mayor.
Okay. The only question I have, Michael, is maybe I'm missing it. Did they put something in there agreeing to put trees along there instead of just small bushes?
We can, Mayor. I'll make sure I get that in there, and we'll make sure that gets over to the Architecture Review Committee.
Okay. With that, I'll bring it back to the council for action.
Anybody?
Okay, I'll go ahead. I move to accept the second reading and adopt ordinance number 2021, an ordinance approving a second amendment to 1035 T Street Development Agreement and authorize staff to publish a summary of said ordinance.
First, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4 with 1 absent. Item number 10, regular business. There's none tonight. Item number 11, District 5, Sanford County Supervisor, Mr. Condit. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. Happy to be here with you all again. I do want to give a big shout out to Chief Bowen and the fire department who helped out immensely during our community cleanup in Crow's Landing. There's absolute certainty that we couldn't have done it without them. They did a phenomenal job and truly appreciate their efforts. I am happy to report that we filled approximately 7 of those large bins from Burralotti up to the brim, and all that trash and debris was taken out to the Fink Road landfill. So it was definitely a successful day, and couldn't have done it without the Newman Fire Department. Besides that, I did want to report out that in regards to the Crow's Landing Naval Air Base project, things are developing and progressing forward. We have begun communications with different master developers, so definitely encouraged by that. I have communicated with Mr. Boggs quite frequently, and he is in communication with a few master developers, and as things progress, I will certainly continue to keep everyone updated. And then our next Westside Healthcare Task Force meeting will be July 8th at 3:30 p.m. We will be meeting in person at the Newman Community Room located in City Hall. The Zoom link will also be available for those who want to participate. And if you would like to participate via Zoom, please contact our office and we'll make sure to get you that link. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions for Supervisor?
Yes, I would just like to say, Supervisor Condit, is that happy belated birthday, and you're still a young man.
Well, my brother's birthday's today. I'm actually a September baby. So
Oh, okay.
Time.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Well, belated for last year.
Oh, last year, I'll take last year. I appreciate it though.
Well, thank you for that day. Glad to see things are moving forward with the base out there, and hopefully we'll come along quickly and get some jobs out on the west side.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Supervisor.
Happy to be here.
Item 12, items from the city manager and staff. Michael?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple quick things. The protest hearing for the Phase 1 Northwest Newman annexation is scheduled for this coming Tuesday, the 29th at 10 a.m. So we'll hear shortly after that the results of our annexation. So we're optimistic. We got a lot of property owner support out there. So I would be very surprised if there were very many protests. And then just reminder, we have a couple different appraisals going on right now, so I think the first one's probably due back maybe next week. So once we get those, we'll go back into closed session and discuss those appraisals with the council, and then seek direction from you. And then lastly, I'll just, if we could, maybe Nubia can update you a little bit on current COVID regs that are coming out of Sacramento and some of the things that are going on with that. Nubia, I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but
Oh, no problem. As long as you all don't mind me a little bit of background noise.
Sure.
But yes, as Michael was mentioning, several things going on right now at the state level. The governor is in the process of rolling back several of the executive orders. The most pertinent one relates to conducting of meetings virtually. So in its current form, local jurisdictions can do virtual meetings as long as they follow the revised guidelines through September 30th. Following that, then we'll have to go back to the old rules. So it's something we're tracking and working with city staff on. Also, OSHA has come out with some new regulations on unmasked and social distancing. Under the new regulations, employees that have been fully vaccinated are no longer required to wear masks. So we're keeping track of that and providing additional information to staff as we get additional information from the governor's office.
thank you, Nubia.
I can't believe your baby's talking already.
All right, already.
Very
Have your baby?
He's going to be 2 next week.
Has it been that long already? Wow.
Oh, that means we got another lawyer in the making.
Let's hope not.
Mayor, that's all that I had to report tonight.
Thank you, Michael. Any questions for Michael?
Yes. I'm put Mike on the spot. Love you, Mike. But listen, we talked. Kathy talked earlier about the flooding areas, and basically you guys have done a tremendous job in terms of these areas, especially the area where I'm living is one of the prone areas, for flooding. You guys have done a tremendous job. One thing I haven't noticed, and I try to keep my eyes open, is that we have not seen the brush truck around sweeping. Is that still a part of our schedule, weekly schedule for cleanup?
Yeah, so our street sweeper caught on fire, and so it was out of commission for a couple months. I think we got it back about 2 weeks ago. Catherine, do you want to just expand upon that?
Yes, I apologize if the dogs start barking there. Somebody's having a fit out there. Yeah, so our sweeper was on fire. It took a while to get it repaired. It was the auxiliary motor. The wiring harness had to be changed out. They got it fixed. It's back. It's been back for about 3 weeks, I think. So the operations are proceeding according to our route that you can find on the website. And sorry.
Great. I can take over.
And
So,
yeah, in the meantime, he's the sweeper operator's sweeping all off times to catch up, do some extra passes across bike lanes, and just going over areas that kind of got behind. And so hopefully you'll see some improvements. If you notice an area, everybody in town knows that they can call Public Works and just give us a heads up, either, Terry or I, or leave a voicemail. Hey, I noticed the sweeper needs to come out to this area, and we have a very good work order system and a very responsive Public Works. So if you see anything out there, then that's what we're here for. So let us know.
And I think the reason why I brought that up is because I noticed, especially on the side, my street side, is that in the street we have grass growing, and what it does is it blocks the water flow to the sewage area. And I think that basically when the guys are out there cleaning, maybe they need to take a shovel or two and knock that grass down to where the water doesn't stop and start flooding in to the street area or onto someone's sidewalk.
What street do you live on?
I live on North Hampton Way.
I'll put a work order in because sometimes we do have to go out and spray and remove some of the weeds, especially because the sweeper kind of prevents that, but because we haven't had a sweeper for a while, it can get backed up. And so I'll put a work order in so they can check the area, and I'll have them just check generally in town for that kind of occurrence so they can take care of it.
Thank you, Kathy.
And our hope is to get a sweeper schedule to where everybody's street is swept every other week. That way you can know that your sweeper's coming, what day, you can get your cars out of the way, and
Right.
Because sometimes he can't make it where if a car's parked somewhere all the time, he can't
Right.
sweep there. And so
That's correct.
we're trying to get it established to where people will know when the sweeper's coming. So that's a goal of Public Works. Hopefully
you,
that
Kathy.
answers your question. You're welcome.
Allie, good evening. You're on mute.
Good evening, council members, mayor. Once again, sorry about that. Just to come back with some feedback, farmers market is this week. Our last and final farmers market of the spring will be this Friday from 3:30 to 7:30, and then we are hoping to bring it back in the fall for our fall harvest market. So if you guys can make it out there, check it out for one last time. I know I will be working closely with the fire department to get a cooling station out there. It shouldn't be as hot as the prior week, so we should be in the clear to have a good farmers market this Friday. The next day is our first movie night, so this Saturday will also be our first movie night. It starts at dusk. We'll be out there. We'll have a full snack bar, and we'll be playing Three Ninjas, taking it back to the 1990s to bring out a good movie out to the community. And just to give you some more info, Fit Kids will be starting July 1st. Thursday, July 1st, here in our community. With that being said, I can answer any questions y'all may have.
Any questions for Nubia? No. Good job on the farmers markets. I'm kind of sad that this will be the last one. They seem to be a good turnout and the community shows up. So, but good job on those. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief Richardson? Good
Good
evening.
evening, Mayor, council members. Just another reminder, we're getting pretty close to the 4th of July, so anybody listening out there, we want to discourage the aerial fireworks this year. It's been really hot and dry. I'm sure the fire chief will tell us. They're a potential fire hazard. We have veterans, we have dogs that are affected by them. There's several nonprofits that sell the Safe and Sane ones that the city approves and the state approves. Please use those. Don't use aerial fireworks if you're listening. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions for Chief? Thank you, Chief. Lou, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. We're getting close to the end of our fiscal year, about 8 days away. So just to remind you, as is typical at the end of the year, the treasurer's report for June gets put off until our auditors have a chance to review our books and give us the go-ahead. We'll produce that one typically around September. Our auditors will be out and they'll be conducting the audit for the next 2 to 3 months, and they'll produce our financial reports at the end of the year. Other than that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Lou? Thank you, Lou. Good work as always.
You're welcome.
Catherine, any more tonight?
I don't have anything to report except our projects are all proceeding. We have got some really good clearances from Caltrans in the last couple of days, which is a huge hurdle overcome, and so that's for our Highway 33 and Inyo project. So I'm hoping that I'll be bringing you some good news on that project. It's taken, I think, 10 years to get to this point, so I think we're almost going to get over the final hurdle. Well 10 is proceeding. We're going to do a final walkthrough tomorrow, see if there's anything pending. We're just doing some final things that Chief Bowen is making us do for fire safety. And we'll get him out there to check it, and then we'll get some security on site. And so that one's proceeding nicely. I have the Kern Street project should be coming before you soon. Go out to bid, come before you for award. That'll be a nice project to get done. We've got 10 other ones down the pipe that we're working on, and I'll bring them to you one at a time.
Outstanding. Thank you. Any questions for Catherine? Thank you, Catherine.
You're welcome.
Chief Bowen, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Just a few things. 4th of July is coming. We have had a few fireworks-related incidents, vegetation fires outside of the city limits, but it is still a potential hazard here in the city limits. So if everyone could just be aware. Also, just want to remind everybody, if you do safe and sane fireworks, please remember to completely soak down those fireworks before you put them in your trash cans. We are known for having at least one trash can fire here where somebody thinks the fireworks are cold and they're still hot. So, and then if you are going to put your fireworks in the trash can, I recommend you don't lean them up against a house or a fence. Maybe, Roy will give you guys a break and let you leave them down at the curb, so if they do catch fire, it doesn't burn anyone's house up. Secondly, I just wanted to remind everyone, we do have a temporary location for a cooling zone if the weather does get a little too hot. We do have some trigger points for that, increase in EMS calls for heat-related illnesses, animal mortality. We also asked the library if they have 3 people there using their location that they notify us, and we can also put up the temporary location. So we do have that available if need be. We have also seen an increase in vehicle accidents over the last week or so. So just want to remind everyone to slow down, drive careful, and I can answer any questions anyone has.
Any questions for Chief? No? Thank you, Chief. Councilman Ball.
Nothing to add tonight, just thank you to city staff for all your great work.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman McDonald?
Yes, I just want to reiterate that I want to lift up our co-councilman, John Pimentel, that we keep him in prayer and that his health, is a speedy recovery.
Thank you. Pro Tem Candia?
Can you hear me this time?
We can.
Okay, good. Sorry about the technical difficulties, but still can't get you through my Zoom, so. But I got nothing right, thanks. I'll get this fixed before next one.
Thank you, Councilman, or Pro Tem. All right. All I have is, John, we're praying for speedy recovery for you. June 15th, I won't be here for our meeting, so Pro Tim will be taking over for that one. And happy 4th of July. Let's celebrate this great country safely.
What date was that? You won't be here?
I won't be here for the 13th meeting. I'll be out of state.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'll be out of state in Alaska and probably out of contact.
Be safe. Yes, be safe, brother.
Well, I hope everybody has a great 4th of July and celebrates this great country and does it safely. And with that, I'll ask for adjournment.
I'll second that.
No, we need it first.
Oh,
I'll first it.
I'll second.
We got first and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Good
Good night.
Good night.